So I know people that spend a lifetime trying to plan a baby, trying to plan a wedding, and then I know people that basically pop a baby out every other weekend. The point is, planning for stuff is pretty important, but some things you can never plan exactly right because some parts of it are just unpredictable and you only know what's gonna happen actually after it actually happens. It's kind of crazy, but life is like that. Now, here I am, Mr. Boring on YouTube, making a video about a wedding when I don't even have, for example, a girlfriend yet. But before I bought my first home, I had a plan to buy my first home. Before I started my business, I had a plan to start my business. So I learned very early on that if you don't have a plan, you're probably planning to fail. And it's not about having this perfect plan, but it's about having something to actually show for it, and then something else might actually happen. So in this video, what I'm going to give you by the end of this video is exactly the dollar amount I plan to spend on a wedding, my prep list, and everything else, okay? And it's not to say, for example, if you have extra money and you want to set it aside for this goal, it's pretty cool, even if you don't have a girlfriend like me. But obviously, if you're broke, your focus should probably not be on here if you're not even, for example, like dating someone, something like that, because your priority should probably be on fixing that, increasing your income and so on, and then you get on to these certain topics, okay? But I've always been a little crazy. I've always liked planning. I've always liked having, for example, some sort of idea of how much something is going to cost and then trying to set a budget for it. I love research. It's just what I love to do, and I want to share it with you guys, okay? Now, as always, guys, like this video, and top out, also subscribe and hit the bell to get notified. Now, the very first thing is, guys, my definition of marriage is biblical. So I think that you have two people, they become one. But I also think, for example, that if you're trying to marry someone and trying to keep everything separate, it's like being in a team, but trying to have, for example, individual goals and so on. It's like, no, it's a team, you work together, and you get things done. Now, one main thing I've seen people do over and over and over, massive mistake, is basically people go crazy. They get too excited when they get married. The first thing they want to do is they want to get a house. They want to get new furniture. They want to basically just add more debt. They want to spend every dollar they have on a crazy fancy princess Harry Potter wedding. And it's like, whoa, 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 whoa. Maybe stop. Maybe chill. Because in reality, you have this big, amazing, beautiful day with all these glorious pictures, and you put so much financial stress in the relationship that usually it causes a dent in a lot of marriages, half of them usually end in divorce. So, the main thing is not the stuff. The main thing is actually the actual person you married, okay? I think that's the most important thing. So here's my prep list, what I plan to spend on each thing and so on. But my advice is, don't take my advice. My advice is use this stuff and basically consider how much you want to spend. Because again, I'm pretty boring. I'm not that crazy. And again, you also don't want to follow the average person, because the average person is broke and also overweight, and that's not really what you want. So when you hear about a wedding costing like $26,000, $30,000 on average, again, that's the average thing to do, but it doesn't mean you have to be average. That's the idea, and that's what I'm saying. So the very first thing on my prep list, believe it or not, is going to be, for example, an emergency account. Yeah, that's whether you're single or about to get married, whatever it is, okay? Because you need to have a foundation in case something goes wrong. So overall, for me personally, I can do with like $2K per month, for example. So $2K, I want to have 3 months or 6 months. That's between $6,000 to around $12,000. And then I'm good to go. I'm solid. That's pretty awesome. But by the way, it's not to say you need the full 3 months or 6 months. The answer is, it's okay if you have a month. But just have, for example, an emergency fund so you have some foundation. I know people that are engaged and they're about to get married and so on and so on. So yeah, it's awesome. Just have like a little emergency account. So that way, when it does happen, you have some buffer in there. You can actually figure things out. Number 2 is wedding expenses and honeymoon. Forget about the average. Worry about how affordable can we make this thing happen. Average wedding is like $20,000 something, okay? I think I can do the entire thing for about $10,000, including the wedding and the actual honeymoon. And I'm pretty sure, I guarantee it, I will see comments saying that's impossible. That's not realistic. If you're in New York, if you're in California, it's just not possible, okay? I think about saying $10,000 and then I'm like, I could just go to court, get married, boom, that's done, right? But you want to have something special. But I remember when I was a photographer, I saw my cousin get married with his wife for about like $2,000. They rented a little venue, had plastic chairs, Some, for example, tables with some stuff over it, and they had a beautiful wedding. They liked it because at the end of the day, it's not about presentation. It's about the ceremony and the person you're actually marrying. All the stuff is cool stuff, but it's not the core, okay? It's not the core. Now, number 3 is ring. Forget about, again, that little stupid rule of you want to save 1 month's full salary and then you want to spend that on your wife and so on. It sounds cool. It sounds like a normal rule. And people might say, if you're not even able to spend 1 month's salary, you must not love her. It's a fake diamond company ad, okay? Don't believe the hype. It's okay. And by the way, you want to do your research because you have, for example, lab diamonds, raw diamonds, loose diamonds. You have used rings. The answer is you have so many options, and whenever you go, for example, to a jeweler in the mall, whatever, it's so expensive. You're paying a premium for what? I've spoken to people that basically work at these jewelerships, and they're like, yo, you're paying like 5 to 10 times more than this thing is worth. It's not an investment. It's stupid. Don't do it. The answer is you can always get, for example, a pawn shop ring, and people hear them and say that's bad luck. If you like this lady, you can't do that, Tommy. It's so stupid, okay? That shows how much you care about her. Just worry about money. No. That's basically marketing to try to put into your head. Again, what really matters is the person you marry, the ceremony, what it actually means to you. People don't get married. People don't get divorced because of a ring, and if they do, you probably don't want to marry that person, right? But that's the over idea. My budget is probably around $3,000 or so, and I say that. But I say that, okay? I'm liable to change my mind, okay? Now, number 4 is apartment. I don't plan on buying a home the minute I get married. Now, I already have a home, but I plan potentially on selling that home like pretty soon. I don't know. But overall, like, I don't plan, like, if I don't have a home by that time, I don't plan on buying a home right away. It's like one of the most crazy things. Like, you have a person that you're about to join with for the first time, and then you're like, you know what I'm gonna do? I want to make sure we can't make any changes. So let's go ahead and just buy a home, and we have to stay here. Terrible idea. Okay, you want to have flexibility. The last thing you want to add is another $300,000-$400,000 in debt. And also the lack of flexibility of saying, hey, you know what? Maybe we don't want to live here. Maybe we want to live somewhere else. But we already bought the home. Now we got to sell it. Maybe the market is down, whatever. The answer is no. So you want to have first month's, last month's deposit, and also, for example, like whatever else like is associated with this apartment. So for me, I'm going to probably set aside like $5,000 for this new apartment or whatever it is. And I don't plan on spending more than a third of my income or like 25% of my income on, for example, an apartment. For me, probably a lot less. But the answer is, don't go too fancy. It's like, I read a study once that Target, I should probably blur that out, I don't want to get sued, but I think it's public, right? So Target used to target, for example, like pregnant women because they're very insensitive, okay? So they're willing to spend money like crazy on a lot of stuff, and they know this stuff, okay? So when you have, for example, a freshly married couple where all they think about is butterflies in their heads, they're willing to pay so much money for things because this is our forever home. 5 years later, they sell it. Or 5 years later, they get divorced, okay? So the answer is, you really want to consider what actually matters in a relationship and not have all these fairy tale dreams, because again, if you're gonna marry someone and the idea is forever, you have all the time in your world to basically buy a home when you actually know where you want to live. So what's all the rush for? Then you have, for example, the furniture. Let's get the most fancy furniture ever. I've never seen anyone except for my grandma keep furniture for 40 years. This lady's kind of crazy like me. That's where I get it from. But the answer is, you don't need to have like all this $10,000 worth of furniture in your home when like in a few months or in a few years, you're probably going to move out, have to sell that thing out for cheap. The answer is no. Just buy some used furniture. Buy some cheap furniture. Just buy some starter furniture, okay? That way you have somewhere to sit. When you think about it, what furniture is just places to sit and sleep. Like, when you really break it down, a couch is for sleeping. Okay? Wait. A couch is for sitting. A bed is for sleeping. You know what I mean? Like, you don't need to spend that much money on this stuff. Go used. And as you develop, as you get more financial stability, you can buy something nice or whatever. Or like Dave Ramsey says, go to the rich part of town and go see their garage sales. You probably get some cheap stuff. I bought my couch, which is leather, and my dining table, which is like wood, like for $700 both. Like, and they cost like at least, like that couch was like $3,000, $5,000, okay? But it's because I went to the rich side of the neighborhood, and actually got it for that cheap, okay? That's the idea. You don't have to spend all this money. Now, here's what I will say. So the good news is that this stuff is way below average, but it's still above like almost like $26,000 because my budget for the furniture is like about $2,000. It's about like $26,000 when I look at the math. But because I have like my own home, that saves me about like $7,000, which makes it a lot more cheaper. But overall, even as I look at these numbers, they do make me feel like, yo, this is so ridiculous to spend so much money on this stuff. But overall, it's a nice experience, but I'm 100% liable to change my mind and say, you know what? Let's do this thing even more affordable and let's invest the difference. Let's spend this money on this or on that. Like, why put all the money on this one dress that you're probably never going to use again? I was so proud of a friend of mine when she said, you know what, Tommy, I'm just going to get, for example, a used dress, not a used dress, a rental dress. And it was like a new dress that just came in, rented it to her. She was the first one to wear it. And it was like, it's cool stuff. Like, when again are you gonna wear that wedding dress? The answer is never again. So why spend $10,000, $3,000, $5,000 on a dress? Makes absolutely no sense. Now, here's what I learned, guys, okay? People tend to focus on the wedding as if it's gonna be the only good moment in the wedding, in the marriage. It's a terrible idea. It's terrible programming. It's all just consumerism. It's all marketing. It's just all terrible. It's all just bad, okay? That's not really what you wanna do. You wanna focus on financial stability. You want to focus on building a foundation. You want to focus on the actual person you're marrying. You want to focus, yeah, the moment is important. I get it. Presentation is important. I get it, right? You want to have something nice. You want to have your dream, but you also want to have your dream within your boundaries, because if you go beyond that, imagine starting off a marriage like the average person with a bunch of debt from the wedding, a bunch of debt from the house, and now you have to worry about how we're going to pay all this stuff, and you're freshly married. Like, once the butterflies wear out, you're just left with all the debt and all the problems, and you can't take it back usually, okay? So that's the idea, guys. That's my plan. Take some stuff, leave some stuff out, and even me making this video right now, I'm gonna take some stuff and I'm gonna leave some stuff out, okay? Because the more you make content, the more you try to teach, the more you learn. And whenever I hear about like, wow, $10,000 on this, $26,000 overall, it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. So there are some things I gotta consider in this video. I gotta reprogram, relook at, and that's perfectly fine. And when you consider what you're doing, like, consider it on your behalf with your partner. Don't think about just what are people gonna think. What are people gonna think that we don't have ribeye and lamb in our wedding? Like, worry about the main focus. Worry about the actual marriage. That's the idea, guys. But I wouldn't do a court wedding. I'm not into that, okay? I want something nice, obviously, but not stupid. All right, guys, thanks for watching, though. Like this video. Again, I'm a little crazy, but it's what I like to do, and I love doing it, okay, guys? I hope this video helps you in some way. If you're about to get married, congratulations. God loves you. And that's basically it. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, hit the bell to get notified. Up here is another banger. Over here is my face. Subscribe. And as always, long-term team officially out. And comment down below wedding, so I know you made it all the way to the end of the video.